Good day. Today we're going to go through the types of numbers. So for CSEC maths, we need to know six different types or categories of numbers. There are six different groupings or categories of numbers in maths. The first type of number we have is called natural numbers. So suppose I ask you to count the number of mangoes on this tree. You might say one, two, three, four, five, and so on. So the numbers we use to count with one, two, three, four, five, and so on, continuing onwards, are called our counting numbers. So the numbers we use to count with are called our counting numbers. So this is all natural numbers is. Natural numbers are simply numbers starting from 1. In other words, natural numbers are the numbers we use to count with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and continuing on. The next type of number we have is called whole numbers. So whole numbers include all natural numbers as well as 0. So the only difference between whole numbers and natural numbers is that whole numbers includes 0. So whole numbers include 0 as well as all natural numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and continuing onwards. So the next type of number we have now is called integers. So integers include all whole numbers and all natural numbers. When we think of integers, we can simply think of negative and positive numbers. So integers include all negative numbers and all positive numbers. So for example, we can think of the number line. So the number line includes all negative numbers on the left side. So -1, -2, -3, and continuing onwards until infinity. So integers include all negative numbers, all negative numbers. They include all positive numbers as well. So integers include all negative and all positive numbers as well as 0. So integers, remember we said they include all whole numbers as well as all natural numbers. Integers include all these numbers here. So integers include 0. They include all the positive numbers as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all the other positive numbers. Integers also include all negative numbers. -1, -2, -3, -4, and continuing onwards until infinity. So we can describe integers as all negative numbers, all positive numbers, and 0. The next type of number we have is called rational numbers. So rational numbers now are any number that can be a fraction. So a rational number is any number that can be a fraction. So for example, we have things like a half, a third, 3/4. So all of these are fractions. Rational numbers include all integers, all whole numbers, and all natural numbers. So let's look at how rational numbers include integers. So integers are just the number line, all negative numbers, all positive numbers, and 0. So we said rational numbers include integers. So let's take an integer. Let's take the integer 5. A rational number is any number that can be a fraction. So is there any way we can convert 5 to a fraction? So to convert any whole number to a fraction, we simply place it over 1. So since we can convert every number here to a fraction, all integers are considered rational numbers. In other words, rational numbers include all integers, all whole numbers, and all natural numbers, because they can all be converted to fractions by simply placing them over 1. The fifth type of number we have is called irrational numbers. Irrational numbers are defined as decimals that do not end. Irrational numbers are in a grouping by themselves. They don't contain any other type of numbers. Irrational numbers are described as decimals that do not end. So an example of this is pi. So the actual decimal for pi continues onwards forever and never ends. So anytime we have a decimal number that does not end, like pi, or another example is the square root of 2. If we put this into our calculator, we get a number similar to pi, a decimal that does not end. So anytime we have a decimal that does not end, like these two, these are considered irrational numbers. They are considered irrational numbers because they are a little bit crazy. They are a little bit irrational. They never end. They have no pattern and they continue on forever. Two examples of irrational numbers are pi and the square root of 2. The final type of number we have is called real numbers. So real numbers are simply all the numbers. Real numbers include all 5 types of numbers. Real numbers include irrational numbers, rational numbers, integers. These here are the 6 types of numbers we need to be aware of for CSEC maths. Natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, irrational numbers, and real numbers.